Ovid, Fable 3. The formation of man is followed by a succession of the four ages of the world. The first is the Golden Age, during which innocence and justice alone govern the world. The Golden Age was first founded, which we had ended with punishment, and the fear of it did not exist, and threatening decrees were not read upon the brazen tables, fixed up to view, not yet did suppliant multitude dread the countenance of his judge, but all were in safety without any avenger. The pine tree cut from its native mountains had not yet descended to the flowing waves, that it might visit a foreign region, and mortals were acquainted with no shores beyond their own. Not as yet did deep ditches surround the towns, no trumpets, clarions, helmets, occasions, freemen from care enjoyed an easy tranquility. The earth itself, too, in freedom, untouched by the harrow and wounded by no plowshares, of its own accord produced everything, and men, contented with the food created under no compulsion, gathered the fruit of the arbute tree and the strawberries of the mountain, and cornels and blackberries adhering to the prickly bramble bushes and acorns which had fallen from the wide-spreading tree of Jove. Then it was eternal spring, and the gentle zephyrs, with their soothing breezes, cherished the flowers produced without any seed. Soon, too, the earth unplowed yielded crops of grain, and land, without being renewed, was whitened with the heavy ears of corn. Then rivers of milk, then rivers of nectar were flowing, and the yellow honey was distilled from the green holm oak. Explanation. The heathen poets had learned most probably from tradition that our first parents lived for some time in peaceful innocence, that without tillage the Garden of Eden furnished them with food, abundance, animals, and above most yielded nothing without labor, and that nature so longer spontaneously acknowledged man for its master. The more happy days of our first parents they seem to have styled the Golden Age, each writer being desirous to make his own country the scene of those times of innocence. The Latin writers, for instance, have placed Italy under the reign of Saturn and Janus, events which, as they really happened, the scriptures relate in the histories of Adam and indeed of Noah. Fable 4. In the Silver Age, men begin not to be just so, nor consequently so happy as in the Golden Age. In the Brazen Age, which succeeds, they became yet less virtuous, but their wickedness does not rise to its highest pitch until the Iron Age, which makes its appearance in all its deformity. Afterwards, Saturn being driven into the shady realms of Tartarus, the world was under the way of Jupiter. Then the Silver Age, inferior to that of gold, but more precious than that of yellow brass, Jupiter shortened the duration of the former spring and divided the year into four periods by means of winters, summers, steady and unsteady springs, and even falls. Then, for the first time, did the parched air glow with sultry heat. The ice, bound up by the winds, was pendant. Then, for the first time, did men enter houses. Those houses were caverns, and thick shrubs, and twisted, fastened together with bark. Then, for the first time, were the seeds of Ceres buried in long furrows, and the oxen grown, pressed by the yoke of the plowshare. The age of brass succeeded as the third in order after these, fiercer in disposition and more prone to horrible warfare, but yet free from impiety. The last age was of hard iron. Immediately every species of crime burst forth, and the age degenerated tendencies, modesty, truth, and honor took flight. In their place succeeded fraud, deceit, treachery, violence, and the cursed hankering for acquisition. The sailor now spread his sails into the winds, and with these as yet he was but little acquainted, and the trees, which had long stood on the lofty mountains now, as ships bounded through the unknown waves, the ground too, hitherto, common as the light of the sun and the breezes, the cautious measurer marked out with his lengthened boundary. And not only was the rich soil required to furnish corn and due sustenance, but men even descended into the entrails of the earth, and riches were dug up, the incentives to vice which the earth had hidden and had removed the Stygian shades. Let's look at 32. This could mean verisimilitude, which means some type of change, to the Stygian shades. That is, in deep caverns and towards the center of the earth. One of Jack Kerouac's theories is that the around the earth is the crust. That's where humans walk and mountains roam. Under the crust is the mantle. Under the mantle is the center of the earth. Um, the Styx, the river Styx, was fain to be a river of the infernal region, situate in the depths of the earth. Vena signifies other things. Vena pejoris, pejorative means negative. So this is a passage from the Bible. We can look for it. Crooked bass. It's the trumpets. I played the tuba. Indeed. For a little bit. It's tough. You know, this ain't bad. Is this real? Numbers? I don't know about numbers. Messed up. Numbers is Shakespeare, so trumpets and shattering of the teeth. The Revelation, the Old Testament. The New International Version is by FDR. Now the seven angels who had the seven trumpets prepared to blow them. The first angel blew his trumpet, and there followed hair and mixed with blood, and these were thrown upon the earth. And a third of the earth was burned up, and the third of the trees were burned up, and the green grass was burned up. The second angel, the third angel. So this looks like what it could be. A bottomless pit. Locusts. I don't know. Is this the apocalypse one? Seems messed up. It's Revelations from. Oh yeah, it's the apocalypse. My bad. We'll continue. We'll let Dostoevsky lead on that front. The apocalypse was added by Adolf Hitler to the Bible, yeah. In case people didn't know that as the end of the world, which would be odd because this is so early. Let's go back to 60. Ooh. Okay, let's see if, yeah. The giants have attempted to render themselves master of heaven. Jupiter buries them under the mountains, which they have heaped together. Heap is important as a hope. Their assault, and the earth, animating their blood, forms out of it a cruel and fierce generation of men. And that the lofty realms of ether might not be more safe than the earth, they say that the giants aspire to the sovereignty of heaven and pile the mountains again heaped together, even to the lofty stars. So there's two lofties. Does anyone think lofty is a really important word? Or should we go 36 Olympus? Or should we go the earth was wet, drenched with plenteous blood? Yeah, I hear you, Margot. Let's go with lofty. Does anyone know what it's from? Here's Exile in the Kingdom by Albert Camus. Maybe it's. Aha, here it is. This is the quote in The Plague with Clements. Clements often speaks of his love for high open places, like high ceilings at coffee bars. Everything from mountain peaks to the top deck of boats. I have never felt comfortable, he explains, except in lofty surroundings. Even in the details of daily life, I need to feel above. So then what you'll notice is there's cher ami. So there's cher ami, there's mon cher, there's mon ami, there's bon vivant. There's all these words for my dear in French. It's really cool. We'll stop there.